Hey guys, AzureX here. Welcome to another Linux Talk. And today I wanted to talk about Steam. Now, so we all know that SteamOS is just getting around the corner here. We've seen some preliminary builds of some software they may include on it, but we have yet to see an actual full-fledged ISO that we can download and try on our systems, but we know that it is coming pretty soon. We also have the Steambox beta program getting ready to come out, with some reference hardware set up for the actual boxes they'll be sending out to beta testers. But I wanted to talk about merely the idea that Steam is bringing to Linux. Now, Steam has already been on Linux for about a year now, and most people are still asking the question is Steam contaminating the system by providing a open source software environment and introducing it to DRM and copyright materials on a daily basis? And I like to establish this argument by saying that Steam is introducing it to DRM content, but I don't feel that it is doing this in a negative or malicious way, as Richard Stallman would put it. To start off, let's go ahead and talk about my thoughts on DRM. So, I feel that DRM is at points a necessity, but it's oftentimes done in a terrible way. I have a definition in my mind that sets up DRM, and DRM is digital rights management. Good DRM is DRM in which it respects both the actual user and the content holder. If I were to purchase music from, let's say, iTunes, I feel that that is not good DRM. That is bad DRM. My respects and my needs are not taken in consideration, and only the content holder's needs and wants are taken into consideration. It's done in such a way that I cannot change my music the way I want it to. I cannot move it to a different computer without going through legal barriers, and I can't put it on any device that I want. I can only place it on certain Apple devices, which can actually play that media. And at the same time, too, I can only play it through Apple software on my computer, for instance, the god-awful iTunes. Good DRM, like I said, is DRM that respects both ends of the spectrum. So the user, or myself, and the content holder, or the artist that created it. I feel that the DRM offered through Steam is good DRM. Yes, it prevents me from distributing out the games how I want to. But let's just say that I really don't want them to be distributed out. I want this game on my computer. I want to be able to download it on any other computer and without any hassles. And Steam does allow me to do that. I can download one game on one machine, and then I can log in with that account and download it on the other machine. The big difference is, though, is that I have to be logged into that account to play it. So if I wanted to play it on both machines, I couldn't, because I can't be logged in to that account twice. I can only be logged in once. Now, you may say, oh, well, that's a cheat. That's stupid. I feel that it should let me do whatever I want with the games after I purchase them. To some extent, that could be correct, and that's one of the reasons why it's not entirely a 100%, it's probably about 98% good DRM. But I feel that extra 2% that's left off, i.e., the ability for you to run it on any computer and do whatever you want to it afterwards, should be left off because of one particular thing. A lot of what Steam does is Steam is now publishing a lot of indie games or games from developers that might not have access to a high-end publisher. And for this reason, the amount of exposure their game gets is solely based upon their Steam sales. Now, if we take a look at that from another standpoint, if I were somebody that made a game, I would want to make, and let's say that I spent $300,000 on this game, and that was like my entire life savings right there. Would it really feel good to me to release it on a platform which says, people can download it and do whatever they want to it afterwards? I would rather feel more trusted to releasing it to a platform where people can play it, they can do whatever they want to their copy, but they cannot redistribute it out to other players. It's basically DRM that's protecting the little guys against piracy. And I feel that that is a key essential thing that we should respect that Steam is doing. And when it comes to bringing it to Linux, I think that that thing should be embraced, because that is a good DRM. That is the kind of DRM and the kind of material that we need to be proliferating out, that needs to go out and be featured on every website. Now, of course, not all DRM is good. I like the idea of having DRM free, but if it's something like a book or music or something like that, I would rather do DRM free rather than actually having to deal with DRM content. But when it comes to games, I feel that the idea with Steam, keeping that DRM, keeping it locked, but allowing them to do whatever they want to it is really awesome. I like the idea that one of my favorite games that I play on Steam allows me to download it, do whatever I want to it. The developer has a very large modding community going on, and I can download the game from Steam, and I can load my own mods into it, and Steam doesn't say, oh, will you modify the files, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't do any of that. It just merely says, oh, okay, you changed the files. That doesn't matter to me. Game doesn't run? Okay, let's re-download the files that I have from my server, the correct version of the game, the non-modified files. Let's download that and see how that works. I really like that idea, and I really like the way that Steam is approaching this. They're promoting the idea of good DRM, and that's, like I said, something that should be spread and embraced throughout the Linux community. As I don't think games should, in fact, be an open source kind of ideal, especially the ones on Steam. Now, I do like open source games, but I feel that a lot of times the game developer spends all his time on doing something and wants to sell it for about $15. If it's a really good game, I will buy it. And we talk about that too with the Humble Indie Bundle. That's been a huge thing with Linux ever since they started doing them for Linux. And I feel the Humble Indie Bundle is a prime example of this because they allow you to activate the game through Steam. So I can go on and let's say those are the 5 games that I want. I can go download it, donate as much as I want to whatever charity is on there, and then load it into Steam. This isn't like, oh, I bought all these games on the Humble Indie Bundle, let me go give them to, like, 30 of my friends. Would I feel good about that? Probably not. In fact, I would feel really terrible about that. And I think that's something that Steam's with their DRM and the stuff that they're doing, and they're still respecting the end user. That's something we need to really celebrate.